I'm bad.
Okay. Introduce yourself.
Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. What's up, everybody? How you doing today? Oh. Do a lot of things with communication. Lee's going to get into that in a second. We also have a nonprofit called the On My Genius campaign, and we directed at youth and young people, and really empowering, encouraging young people to think positively. And what we do is we teach them all about self-awareness, really getting to know self, understanding who you are as a person. Because once you understand who you are, the sky's the limit. Everything starts to open up. Believing in yourself, that self-confidence, and now having a full sense of worth, right? So now I got value. I know who I am. I believe in who I am. So now I have value, right? So I'm gonna let Lee introduce himself and get into some of the other things that we do.
What's going on, fellas? How you doing? Today, I want to kind of get you guys into the mode of what you're about ready to receive, what you're about ready to listen to, and so you can really get your ears ready, your minds ready to empower yourself by thinking with your own brain. Everybody is in here for a reason or some another, and I'm here for a reason. And if we all could just come together and bring our minds together to listen just a little bit, we might learn something. We might learn something about each other, be able to share something with each other, and be able to really develop ourselves and go on after this to be better people and better human beings. So I want you guys to get your ears ready to listen to some great things that's about to be said. It's going to be something that you can actually hold on to and actually really keep and live with outside of this, past this. So I just want to start off by saying that, because everything that we share here is something that both of us or someone has gone through. Somebody has given us this wisdom, and we want to pass that down. We feel that is our duty to pass this down to younger generations so they can at least be exposed to it. So I urge you to open your ears and listen to what we're trying to say, because it doesn't matter. It might help somebody else. You might be able to help somebody else after you out of here with what we say today. All right? Oh yeah. So basically what Positive One is all about, we're about to show you the video where it all started from. It's called The Becoming, because when we traveled, our journey is forever evolving, and we're becoming the people that we best want to be, becoming our highest selves. So we want to tell you, we're taking you on a little journey about everything that we're about, everything that we represent as far as self-awareness, self-confidence, and self-worth within Positive One. Quick step to pray. Okay. You saw me at 4-3-3-8.
You ready for the call? Oh yeah. I'm not.
The single most important moment in our lives is the day that we are born. That is when everything begins. But there is one more, almost equally important moment that we should be looking for. And that is the moment we realize the purpose of our life. No two people are exactly the same. Every person that has ever existed on this earth possesses a unique quality that sets them apart. I'm just going to stream. The single most important moment in our lives is the day that we are born. That is when everything begins. There is one more, almost equally important moment that we should be looking for. And that is the moment we realize the purpose of our life. No two people are exactly the same. Every person that has ever existed on this earth possesses a unique quality that sets them apart from every other person on the planet. What is your unique quality? What sets you apart? How can you help change the world? Think about that. Think of your life as painting a portrait. Your canvas is blank, and you hold the paintbrush into your life's portrait. Are you going to conform and make the same life as everyone else because society says it should be a certain way? Or are you going to do what you think it should do and fulfill your purpose? It's all up to you. You control your decisions. Live your life expressing your true self. So be kind, be unique, be bold, be emotional, but most importantly, be you and love who you are. Have confidence in yourself and don't let it be swayed by others who don't know the passion you have inside of you. Move forward with your life and understand that what happened prior to this moment is history. 2 seconds ago is history. We can't get that back. So keep moving forward. If there's a rock in a river, does the river stop flowing? No. It simply goes around it, never stopping. When the rock appears in your river journey, don't try to move it. Simply go around it and let it flow downstream effortlessly. Once your river begins to flow freely, all the stresses and anxiety that hold you back on a daily basis begin to fade and be replaced by confidence, dreams, and ambition. All of this comes by simply changing the way you think. Don't let anyone keep you from your greatness. Believe in yourself. You have the ability to do things this world has never seen. All great things in life were impossible until the impossible was done. William Shakespeare once said, our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good that we often might win by fearing to attempt. So in other words, true success is overcoming the fear of failure. I'll say that again. True success is overcoming the fear of failure. I want to leave you with this. The Positive One vision is to create a world where everyone loves themselves for exactly who they are. A world where we take accountability for our actions and take responsibility for our mistakes. A world where no one judges, everyone encourages, because we're all one body, one mind, and one spirit. We are all connected as one. This is what it means to be Positive One. My name is Lee Williams, and I am Positive One. All right. I know it was kind of choppy. I believe it was choppy, but I hope everybody heard the word there. And what the becoming is all about it surrounds what our principles are. And we have 6 principles that we're going to go over today that we truly live by and we make as pillars of our lives as men, as family men, and as adults. Because you got to have something that you're going to stick to. So, and I'll give you a story here real quick. So if, how many of you guys in here have ever been on a boat anywhere? Been on a boat before? Okay. So if I have like a, if I'm in like the Navy or the Army and I'm on a battleship and I want to take this battleship across the sea, let's say to Hawaii, I'm gonna need a lot of things. So if I don't have a captain, if I don't have a navigator, if I don't have a crew, if I don't have somebody to run the engine, am I gonna get to where I want to go with that boat? Okay, so I probably won't make it out to harbor, right? But if I have the proper tools, I have a captain, I have a navigator, I have a crew, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna get to where I want to go. And can anybody tell me what the reason is and why I can get to where I want to go? You got things you need, you got support. Anything else? That's pretty much it. You have a basis of something that you have so you can equip yourself to navigate the system. But if you don't have any of those tools, how can you ever get anywhere? So we put together as our principles, our 6 principles. They are universal principles that we're going to go over with you guys in depth today. And hopefully it'll just give you something that's universal. It's not a religion. This is just basic, universal, basic principles that you can use and take with you through the rest of life. Most of you have our principles in here anyway, don't they? On the little cards that we gave out. But Mark, you want to start off?
So like Lee said, you guys have probably all heard the saying, a man who stands for nothing falls for anything, right? So in life, you got to stand for something. And that's part of what the principles do for us. It allows us to stand on something. It gives us a foundation in life. And when you have foundation in life, and Lee alluded to this, sometimes people come in and they talk about religion as the foundation, right? Go to church, read the Bible, pray, all these things as a foundation to keep you grounded. What we've done is we decided that it's more about what's internal, because sometimes in life, you got to find what truly naturally fits for you. What fits for you, my brother, may not fit for me. And that's okay. That doesn't make you bad. That doesn't make me bad. What it does is it makes us both unique in our own way, right? And we got to embrace that uniqueness. So what you have in your mind and in your heart are beliefs. There's something inside of you that you believe. So that's where your principles and your foundation and whatever you decide on needs to come from. Your heart. Because then if it doesn't, it won't last. Like if I tell you, go to church and everything will be all right, but you don't truly believe that in your heart, everything won't be all right for you. Because you won't go there with a belief, right? What I got to do is I got to help guide you and shine a light in your life to bring you to more awareness so that you can sit down and develop your own set of principles. And again, it's all about positivity, right? It's all about what's going to be positive for me in my life. So, and I know they're getting the PowerPoint ready and we'll get the principles pulled up. But it's really important for you guys to begin to think about that. And here's the beauty of it. Right now, you got to take advantage of the circumstance you're in. Because one thing that you got plenty of is time, right? I think we can all honestly admit that, right? And that's not to be disrespectful to anyone. That's just fact and truth. So now, what we challenge you to do after all this is gone and we walk away and we leave this place is really think about, what's my foundation? What are my principles going to be? How am I going to begin to live my life and set my rules for me? Something that's constructive and positive that will bring me good things. Because decisions were made that brought you bad things. I think you all can internally understand that. I made a decision, it brought me some things that aren't necessarily good, right? But now I can change that, right? I can begin to change that because now I can make use of this time. And I can begin to write, what would I do? What would I not do? How am I going to treat people? How do I expect to be treated? And those are the things that you got to start formulating. So we're going to, are we ready to, you got to pull up? All right, perfect. So as you see, positive one is a mindset, right?
Great.
And just so you, I walk a lot when I speak. It's kind of like keeping the energy going. So I move around a lot. So you'll see me move around a lot. All right, so the positive one mindset, right? Just the way to get it up for everybody. Give me the one. I'm good to go. All right, perfect. All right, so positive one mindset, the principles of positive one. And we have 6 principles, and you go to the next one. So the first principle is, go back, accepting my truth. Go back.
Try.
Or go to the beginning. Skipping ahead on. Oh, it's that the delay in the transmission. All right, we'll keep sort of rolling through it. So the first principle, positive one, is accept my truth. Number 2 is stay in my lane. Accept people for where they are in their journey. I become what I think about. What I focus on will expand. And have a checkmate in my life. And myself and Lee, we're going to roll you through these principles, give you examples of where these things show up in life. And as we go through it, if you guys have questions, comments, examples that relate to what we're talking about, we encourage you to share, right? We encourage you to share because this in this moment is more about you than it is about us. So accept my truth, and you can go to the next slide. So accepting my truth, right? The truth of who I am, the truth of my life. Be myself and be bold in my personality. Do not attempt to conform to someone's expectations of who I should be. Live my life according to my vision, right? So living my life according to my vision. Sometimes we can end up in places because we're living somebody else's life, right? And for some of you, that could be real right now and why you're here. You could have been living somebody else's life. The cat's on the corner, maybe your older brother, maybe one of your really good friends. You started living their life because maybe that was part of the environment you were in, right? Maybe it just seemed like, yo, that seemed like the cool thing to do. So I'm gonna just go ahead and make that happen. But there was always something inside of you that probably was like resisting it. It could have been in the form of you questioning, doubting. It could have been a pain. You could have started getting headaches because there was something unnatural about it, right? So we got to really dig into what is my truth? Who am I? And part of that is even accepting where you are. Whether that means, hey, maybe your family life ain't that good. Okay? That's true. It's a reality that you got to accept, right? But once you accept it, then you begin to understand, how can I flow through it? Go around it. Like Lee said in the video, when there's a rock in the river, you flow around it. And you go down your river effortlessly. You don't let that rock block your path, right? You got to flow around it, keep moving, because when you accept your truth, that's when you begin to figure that out. Because now I know who I am. Look, some of you may need to accept your truth and say, you know what? I ain't the type of dude that really likes to be fighting. I'm not really the type of dude that wants to be in the street. That's not really me. It's not natural. And I'm going to keep dropping the mic because it's a little bit unnatural for me. So you may start having these thoughts, right? But you got to really accept your truth to fully understand who you are. You cannot live someone else's life. You can only live yours. You can't look at the TV and say, well, man, Lil Wayne is constantly rocking ice. He got a Bentley, so that's what I need to have. Maybe that's not meant for you. Maybe there's something else equally as gratifying, because none of that is real what he has. And that's a whole nother conversation. None of it's real, but you got to figure out what's your why in life. Why do you do what you do? Why do you like the things that you like? There's a reason for it. A lot of it has to come with the environment you were raised in. But you got to go deep into that. And you can't just stay at this surface level, because guess what surface level does for you? It causes you to make bad decisions. You got to go deep internally and understand, who am I? Confront fear, right? You got to confront fear. If you fear standing up and speaking in front of people, but you understand that if you do that, that's going to bring you something positive, you got to confront that fear. If you're in history class, right, and you don't really like to read in front of other people, but reading in front of the group will get you a better grade, then you got to confront that fear. You can't keep running from it. Because when you run from fear, you're not a man. Fact. You got to face it. That's when you start to become a man, right? We learn from those things. When we face that fear, we learn from our mistakes. But we have to be bold in who we are and have that belief in who we are in order to get there. Principle 1, accept my truth.
And just elaborating on what he said as far as accepting your truth, you know, and accepting everything about it. We can't be scared about what we are and who we are at this moment, you know. And the bottom, set family environment and what you're born into. If you're born into something, everybody's born into a situation. Some would say good or bad, but that's not an excuse. We have to be able to say, okay, this is where I am and how I'm going to feel from that. And like just looking at yourself and saying, hey, I'm the only one that can get myself out of this, because I'm the only one that exists inside of me. That's the reason why I'm going back on this, because this is the most important principle that I see, because of the fact that it's the basis of everything. So if you start something, if you start a seed, you plant a seed and it is a bad seed, it can't grow good because it was bad from the beginning. So you have to get your core foundation truthfully. It has to be true. If it's not, then everything else from that will be false. It won't be any good because you haven't accepted who you are. Understand that, guys? All right, I'll go to the next slide. After you've accepted your truth, I think you went one slide, one more slide. Okay. After you accept your truth, the next thing we do is we stay in my lane. Stay in my lane. That means I focus on my strengths. I don't fear asking for help, and I understand my areas of opportunity. So if I like to give stories and stuff like that, so to kind of make it real life. Now, how many of you guys ever traveled outside the state? All right, or wherever you're going. If you're going, let's say we're going on a trip to California. All right, I can get there a number of ways, a bunch of ways I can get there. But let's just say I choose to go I-40 all the way across the United States. Now, I can choose to weave in and out of different lanes. I could choose to take some back roads, or I could just stay in the same lane, going the same miles per hour I want to go the entire way. Either way, I'm going to get there. But if I stay in where I'm comfortable, where I know my truth, then I can't really mess up, can I? Where do we start messing up? Anybody? Exactly. We get out of what we know. And that's a key word. What we know. The reason why we got here is because we got outside of what we know. And it lands you in a place where you don't want to be. So we all get outside of our lane sometime. But when we get outside of our lane, it's only because we have not focused on what we're doing. And we started focusing on what somebody else is doing. That's when we start getting outside of our lane. Oh yeah, man, we want you to do this, come and do this. Oh, I don't really do that, bro. But you know, catch me on the next time. Because that's not in my lane. I don't really feel comfortable doing that. That's not me. That's not what I naturally feel good doing. If I'm driving in traffic and I keep switching lanes all the time, in and out with other cars, the likelihood of me having an accident, does that increase? So when I'm more volatile, moving around, I can have an accident and end up here or anywhere. But if I just stay with what I know, does that ever come into risk when you're just talking to yourself and you're dealing with yourself? Does that ever come into risk? Can anybody, is there anybody else, if I'm just dealing with myself staying in my own lane, is there any way that anyone else can affect what I'm doing? So if nobody else can affect what I'm doing, and I know this, if I just stay in myself and I know this, how is it possible that I can go astray? Because there ain't no other energy there, right? There's nobody else, other energy that I'm trying to adopt or anything that will get me outside of my lane and what I do. That's where we got to talk about individuality. Doing what's natural to us. Because we were all born in this world. Not one person has the same fingerprint in here. Not one person has the same DNA in the world. In the world. Every blade of grass is different. Everybody has uniqueness inside of them. Why are we trying to group with other people? We just need to explore our differences, because in those differences, we might find something. We might find the genius inside of us that nobody else has. And I promise you it's there, because everybody's different. Everybody's born uniquely. So everybody should probably start to embrace their own lane. You do something totally different than him. You have dreads. He doesn't. You probably like dreads more than he does, because he don't have none. Does that make you a better person than him? Does that make your style better? No. Individually, you do your own thing. Should you be threatened because he has dreads? Should you be threatened because he has a season? No. Should you be threatened because he has glasses? Everybody does their own thing. And once we understand about how we're focusing on what we're doing, the things that we know we do well, the things we look good at, because I know, you know, look, I got bald head, you know what I'm saying? But I make my bald head rock nice, man, you know? And Mark doesn't. But I just worry about what I got to do. So if I'm worrying about what I got to do, I'm just staying in my lane. I'm focusing on what I need to focus on for me to do what I need to do. Can't see problem now. Yeah. Oh, okay, well, okay. That's no problem. Everybody in that.
Yeah,
you miss me? Yeah. So when we're in our own respective lanes, we constantly are thinking about self. That keeps us out of trouble. That lets us be aware of ourselves, have self-awareness of what we're doing at all times. So if we start feeling a little temper inside of ourselves, getting outside of our lane, that's how we need to remind ourselves. We tell ourselves, wait a minute. Why am I allowing somebody else who is not me to make me upset? That means we're giving people power over us. right? So if I don't know you, right, and I come to you, I say, yo, bro, I don't think you're a very smart person at all. I really don't. You just don't look smart, right? Should that really bother you? Okay, why wouldn't it bother you? Exactly. Thank you very much. Everybody give him a hand clap. Thank you very much. Because, no, I don't know him. I have 2 kids. If he was to tell me I'm not a good father, why does that bother me? He don't know me. I just met him today. But if I get outside of my lane now, that might affect me. That might affect my decisions that I make. That might affect other things. And I don't even know him, and I might just got in trouble for somebody. If I go jump on him, I might have got in trouble because he said something about me. He don't even know me. I know it's not true. It goes back to number 1. If something is not true and somebody says that it is, and you know your truth, it should never bother you. Ever. Ever. Because it's not true, and now you're going to step outside of your lane to try to go on something that's really false, okay? So think about that whenever you're in your bunk or wherever and somebody annoys you. Think about that when somebody gets to the point where, you know, they're just doing things for no reason and you know that they're trying to get under your skin. Think about that. Don't give these other people control. Stay in your lane. So you know what? That's his problem. He can handle all that energy over in his lane or her lane. I'm going to stay in my lane because I'm comfortable here. I'm peaceful here. I'm going to drive the whole way to California in this one lane, no wrecks, nothing, because I'm comfortable where I am. Once we start getting used to that speed and want to speed up and go all over the place, and we're not comfortable, we get out of control, we start to lose who we are, and we land here. So we just need to be calm, be careful, and just stay in our lane. Principle number 2, stay in lane.
All right. As we go along, does anybody have any questions or comments that you want to make on what you've heard so far with accepting my truth and staying in my lane? Because again, we want this to be as interactive as possible because this is for you. So if you have questions or comments, just to show that, hey, look, yes, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling what you guys are saying. I can see where this can show up in my life. Let's share that. All right, you can go to the 2 ahead of that. All right. All right, the next principle, accept people for where they are in their journey. Don't expect others to conform to my life. Let others be who they are. View people from a positive lens. Do not put others in a box because I might miss the gift they have to offer me. Our viewpoint is based on our life experience, levels to everything. One level achievement can be based on natural ability. So accepting people for where they are in their journey, right? Oftentimes, sometimes I think we're afraid to be the only one, right? So we want other people to sort of be like we are, right? Hey, bro, come on, man, why don't you get down on what we're doing over here? What's wrong with you? Hey, bro, we're going to go take this trip, take this ride in this car. Won't you come with us? But what if that brother isn't about that? Are we willing to accept him for where he is in his journey? Because where he is may not be where you are, right? You may be at a place where you're comfortable with doing that, taking that ride. You may be at a place where maybe you're really good in history. So when you come in here, you dominate. But that doesn't mean I laugh at the man who's struggling, right? Because I accept him for where he is in the journey. Because look, there's somebody that's a level up higher than you, right? Look, I drive a nice car. But that doesn't mean I don't show respect to people who don't. I just accept them for where they are because I ain't always driving a nice car. So I accept people for where they are in their journey. I don't attempt to push my beliefs on them. Just like in this moment, the only thing that we want to do is shine a light. We accept all of you for where you are on your journey. I don't judge you. When we come here, we don't ever want to discuss why you're here or what got you here. That's irrelevant to me. I see you for who you are in front of me right now, my brother. Whatever you showed me from this moving forward is who you are to me, because I accept you right now for who you are in your journey, right? I don't judge you. I don't make assumptions about you. And that's a really hard thing to not do, is to make assumptions about people, right? We see somebody walking here in a suit. What you think? If we walked in here in suits today, what would your first thought have been of us? We lawyers. Who else? We walked in here in suits today. What would have been your first impression? We preach? That's what you said? We're preachers, right? Somebody said rich, right? We got money. Anything else? Yeah. Successful, right? Okay. And that's all possible, but maybe none of that could be true. I could walk here in suit, be broke, be the biggest sinner on the planet, right? Not have any money, constantly in trouble instead of getting people out of trouble, right? So now when you accept people for where they are on their journey, you see past the surface. You try to see them really for who they are, and that's really based on their behavior. Right? Because all these things that you guys describe right now, with the exception of a lawyer and a preacher, is who we are. We are successful. We do have pretty good lives. We live in decent houses. We drive nice cars. But we walked in here in fatigue shorts and t-shirts. But here's something else you don't know. We made these t-shirts. These t-shirts that we rocking are ours. All the way around, design, everything. Look. Lee got the gold on. That's that new thing we got going on, the gold. But it's ours. We made it. What you see we're wearing came from our vision, right? So you got to accept people for who they are in their journey, because see, then you don't miss the gift, right? If you make an assumption about us based on how we're dressed, you may miss the gift we have to offer, because you may put us in a box. Man, them jokers just like us, man. They ain't got nothing going on. You know what I'm saying? And usually these are the moments where I gotta control my language. I'm a Jersey boy, so it's real easy for me to drop a SHIT or something like that just to make emphasis, but that's kind of who I am. I accept my truth about that, right? And I'm unapologetic, because that make me a bad person in my mind. So that's all that matters, right? But you may miss the gift, because you may say, whatever, who these cats, right? And now you put us in a box, so guess what you may do? You may not listen. You may not hear anything we got to say, because you already think we this. Even if you thought, because we walked in here with suits, I ain't trying to hear no preacher talk, man. I don't need no religion. I don't need nobody talking to me about God. I don't want to hear that stuff, right? But again, if you're not accepting me for who I am and really trying to understand who I am, you may miss the gift if you base it on my surface. See, we got to accept people for where they are in their journey, because not accepting them for where they are in their journey says nothing about them and everything about you. Not accepting people for where they are in their journey says nothing about them and says everything about you. You're showing your weakness in that moment. Why wouldn't you accept me for where I am in my journey? Why would you judge me? You don't know me, like you said before, right? I can't tell you not smart because I don't know you. So why would you not accept people? See, that's really how you keep yourself from being tricked. Like back in the day, and this is going way back, and I'm talking about in like the 1920s, right? You know, back then immigrants were Irish, German, Italian. That's what immigrants were, right? The world got it twisted today, and they're trying to paint this picture, but don't get it twisted. Back then, the immigrants were the Irish and the German and the Italian, and I'm gonna stop there, and you can just put together for what that looks like to you, right? Visually, okay? So guess what the Italians used to do? The Italians were like oftentimes looked at as like crooks. So you know what they started to do? Started to wear suits, right? Because now if I throw on a suit, you're gonna think I'm a lawyer. You're gonna think I'm a doctor. You're gonna think I'm successful. But that's not the life they were about. Because a lot of them were doing it because they were really thieves. They were criminals. These are facts, right? But it's because they were trying to hide who they were. But if people truly accepted them for who they are and looked past the suit, they could have figured out, oh man, we ain't here for nothing else but to rob and steal. But see, they knew that most people wouldn't do that. They knew that most people would look at them for the surface. See them in a suit, think they're good. That's the wrong mentality to have. When you truly accept people for who they are in their journey, then you really look at who they are. You base it off of their behavior. You don't base it off of face value when they walk in a room. Oh, they're this. Oh, they're that. And you leave it there. Just put them in that box. Some of the richest people on the planet look like some of the poorest people on the planet. It's facts. Because if you got money, you know how to keep money. How you keep money is you don't spend money. So you don't want to miss those jewels. So what we challenge you guys to do with this principle is to begin to accept people for where they are on their journey. You may see a cat who walks in here his first day, he may look soft for whatever reason. Maybe he's skinny, you know, maybe he don't make a lot of eye contact, he keeps his head down. So now you think, I'm gonna mess with him a little bit. And then one day he surprises you. Because he wasn't who you thought he was. But that's your mistake. You want to know why it's your mistake? Because you didn't accept him for where he was in his journey. You didn't see past the surface. You put him in a box. We got to embrace people. We got to love people because, again, how we treat people is a reflection of who we are on the inside. So if I'm constantly nasty to people, I feel nasty inside. So that's what's coming out. See, it's really about you, right? So your ability to accept people or your lack of ability to not accept people, right? That really says a lot about who you are. So we always want to accept people for where they are in their journey. Not everybody's going to be at the same level. Not everybody's going to be into the same things. Not everybody is who they appear to be. And you got to remember that. Because, truth be told, it could be the difference between you living life and continuing on and you not. So you got to see people. Base it off of their behavior. Base it off of, are they truly, truly engaged? And if not, so what? That doesn't mean I judge them. I let them be. I let them be. I don't try to force anything on them. I don't make fun of them. I let them be. All right, cool. You ain't feeling this right now? I'm going to go over here. I'm not going to try to mess up your flow, and I'm definitely not going to mess up my flow in an attempt to get you to do something that I think you should do. Because then you disturb the natural order of things. And then you put your energy into something you need to put your energy into. By simply accepting people for where they are in their journey. Let them be who they are going to be. That don't have nothing to do with you. You got to focus on you. You got enough stuff yourself. We all got stuff. Trust me, I got plenty of it. Right? I can just start with the fact that I got 2 kids at home. That right there is enough stuff. So I can't be worried about what everybody else is doing. I can't get so caught up in what this guy's doing, what this guy's doing. Lee talked about staying in your lane, how it throws you off, right? So I got to accept people for where they are and keep it moving. You are who you are, that's fine. If that's who you are, maybe I'm not that. So maybe I need to stay over here, you stay over there, and everything is all good. Because now if I try to force it, Maybe I may try to make you prove something, whatever. I'm disturbing my natural flow. So we want to accept people for where they are in their journey at all times. Let people be who they are. Because again, if you let them be, that's when you'll see the gift that they have to offer. But if you try to change them and force yourself, force your ways, or force your thinking on people, or try to make people do things that they didn't want to do or they're not ready for, you're only hurting you. You're really not hurting them. Accept people for where they are in their journey.
All right, the next slide. Principle number 4 is what I focus on will expand. So we get that up, we'll be able to elaborate a little bit. Okay. All right. You got a slide up?
Which one are you?
Number 4. Okay. All right, yeah. Oh, it says number 3. So, this one. There we go. All right. All right. I become what I think about. Actually, I become what I think about. So, like I said, I always like to tell stories and everything, but I'll get into that in a second after I go over this. Be conscious of the things I feed my mind. The media I watch, books I read, people I surround myself with affect my thoughts, which guide my character. Like how do our thoughts get influenced? All right, now, go back a bit. Let me switch on that. So we can do anything that we want to do in life, right? So, and the limits there are no limits. It is literally an unlimitless amount of things that we can do if we just think that we can do them. The reason why in life most people don't do things is because they don't think that they can do them. Have anybody ever heard that saying, if I think I can't, you think you can, or you think you can't, you're right? Because if I think I can do it, yes, I will be able to. If I think I can't do it, I can't, because I literally think that I cannot do it. I think it's too hard. So what I'm thinking that is what I am going to become. I'll never be able to do it. If I never say I can run a mile under 6 minutes, right? How many people think that would actually happen if I never said I could do it? All right, so if LeBron James never said that he wanted to win an NBA championship, would he ever won it? Because why? Yeah, but he wasn't thinking about it. I become what I think about. Anything that you do, if you're thinking about a life of crime, that's what you will become. You start seeing crime things on TV. You start seeing things that have to do with crime. The first 40, all these shows, your friends talk about that stuff. You're in that environment. What's the likelihood that I'm going to be that if I'm in that environment? Now, that comes with that whole self-awareness thing of knowing where we are and like realizing how do we get here, you know? We weren't thinking. And that's what the problem is with most people in the world. Most people just don't think. So we'll start right there. How many of us get up in the morning and just do whatever they tell us to do here? Right? I mean, how many of us just get up How many of us get up and say, man, you know, it's a great day today. I figure out, you know, take my mind somewhere else so I can, you know, have some kind of imaginative going in my mind. You know, does anybody think that way? All right, so you think that way? All right, so if we're not thinking about anything outside of where we are now, that means we're not thinking about anything. So nothing from nothing gets what? So if we're spending our whole day thinking about nothing, then we're not doing nothing. How is it possible if we don't have any type of goals? Even now, daily goals. Today, I want to just make it through the day smiling all day. That's a goal. I'm thinking about that. Look, I want to be happy today. You're not going to shine. That's my one goal today. Very simple. That's a start. But we don't think. Think of a master plan. I don't know if y'all know that verse. No? Right here. Think of a master plan. Can anybody say the rest of that? Hey, well, you know. but understanding that there should always be going something inside of us. We are natural thinkers. All right. I'll give you an example here. Right. Here's how natural things are for us to do things and grow and think and evolve as people. Right. Somebody tell your fingernails to stop growing. Can it stop? But they're gonna grow back, right? So isn't that a natural phenomenon that no matter what, even if you said stop growing fingernails, they're gonna keep growing. That means there's something else inside of you. So you're gonna sit here and let that natural phenomenon, that natural energy inside of you just go to waste by not directing that energy to something. Something as simple as just looking at your fingernails, you know, that's amazing. Or looking at your body, you get a cut. Does it heal? Do you have to do anything for that cut to heal? It just heals. But we take those things for granted because we don't think about, well, that's self-healing. We really do, our body generates that by itself. So when we start thinking about that, we should start thinking about the power that we really got inside of our minds. The power to create something that wasn't there before. To build something that did not exist before, and now you're responsible for that. That's what thinking does. Thinking can take you from nothing to everything, all because you put thought into it. Because everything starts with an idea. Everything starts with an idea. Me and this gentleman right here had an idea, just changed the world, really. But within that, we start finding our lane and how we're going to do that. You see how all the principles start to come together. Like, once you start thinking, everything starts to come together. Me and this gentleman sat on the back porch in August, 3 years ago, of 2014. And we both said, you know, we're pretty successful individually, but why is it that immigrants or anybody that just comes over here, they own in stores, they own in grocery stores, they own in businesses, and why am I still working for somebody else? And I was born here. So I just got to ask you a question. So you got to start thinking. Because really, if somebody that's not born here, somebody comes outside this environment where I've grown up my whole life, is doing it bigger and better than where I was already, when I've already been here my whole life. So that leads you to a question. You got to accept the truth. I ain't been thinking. He just came here and he's a millionaire, and I've been here 36 years now. At that time, 33 years, and I'm just doing okay. So it's something we have to start thinking about. And once we start thinking about, those things start to evolve. Those things, and that's what we'll get to the next principle. Those things start to evolve, all because we just decided to start thinking. We get to stand now in front of you because we started talking on the back porch. We built all these things because we just started to think. It came from nothing. It didn't cost us a dime, but it gave you everything. So find what your passion is. You got time now. If you keep sitting here thinking about nothing, you're not going to be anything. You can't plant seeds on unfertile ground and expect something to grow. If you plant seeds and don't water it, how can something grow? Is it possible? If you ignore it, if you ignore yourself, ignore your own mind, you ain't thinking about nothing, you can't do anything. So you got to start there. You got to start understanding, like, putting things in your life that are going to help you start thinking what you want to think. When I was on the road working, I put quotes all around my room. Like, just every time I thought I was write something down, something good, make me feel good, because I was alone. I was away from my family. I had to work. I made that decision, but I wanted something to keep my mindset right, so I don't get into missing my daughter when I was gone. So I put all these positive thoughts and let me know the reason why I was out here on the road for a month at a time. Keep my spirits up. Yo, you're doing this for a reason. You provided for a family. It helped my psyche. It helped my psyche to the point where I built the company so I could get off the road and not have to be there no more. I used what they gave me to build my own thing, and now I'm independent from everything. So I used that time that I had there while I was working there to think and build my own thing, build my own clothing company, build my own speaking business, build my own whatever other business. I don't know, we got like 6 businesses. I don't even know, just because when we think of something, we create a business for it. That's what you can do. That's the power you got inside of you. Everybody. I am not the most scholarly person. I went to college. I graduated. I tell you what, I might have made B's and C's in college, but I always thought my way through it. I always used my own mind. I didn't care about what grades, because grades didn't make me. Now, I went to a school, the University of Richmond, prestigious school. I guarantee you, I know I make more money than 95% of people that went there. Why is that? Because there's 2 different things. You got thinkers and you got people who are programmed and can go to school to learn stuff and get into that system. Right? Anybody can follow a blueprint. Anybody can follow a blueprint and follow the steps, and it will get you X. I already did that. That's how I started making over $100,000 a year when I was like 29 or 28. But very few people can go out on their own and do something for themselves. Something that nobody ever done before. Nobody's ever tried before. That's why those people are the most successful. Those are your billionaires. Those are your millionaires. Those are the people who are innovative and say, you know what? I don't want to do it like that no more. That's just the old way. Everybody can do it that way. Can I do something new? Bring something to the table that nobody ever done before. And people might think I'm crazy while I'm doing it because I'm thinking for myself. But just wait. Wait till I finish this masterpiece. I'm a thinker. I don't let anybody else's thoughts or what I'm doing start to affect on my path, on my journey, on what I'm doing. Because I think for myself. And when you think for yourself confidently, that right there will allow others, they'll start attracting to you because they don't know where this confidence comes from. Well, how can he just go out and just make his own clothing line? He can't do that. Oh, yes, I can. How can he have his own podcast show? They have their own podcast show. He can't do that. Yes, I can. Because you can't tell me what I can do. It might not be a world-renowned show right now. It might not be the hottest clothing line right now, but it is mine. And how many of y'all can say that when you're talking to people? How many of you can say you got something for yourself? How many say, well, I don't have to go to work for nobody. I talk to myself. I'm my own boss. Those are the things that get you to where you want to go. And you start thinking for yourself. You become an independent thinker. You become an independent person. You can still deal with other people and love to help, like be a part of a team. But when you know you don't need anybody else at all to function and live in your life, that's where you start gaining true power. That's where you start. That's what thinking does for you. You're thinking for yourself, not accepting anything that anybody tells you, and you're only going with what you know. You're staying in your lane. You're accepting your truth. I become what I think about.
All right. How many of you in here believe that once you leave, 15 years after that, and that's a big number. You know what? Let's say 10. You can become a millionaire. If you believe that, raise your hand. Okay. Let me tell you the secret to getting what you want. What I focus on will expand. You can jump to that PowerPoint. See, when we focus in on things, we're putting our energy to that thing, right? So let me ask you a question. And Lee alluded to this before. If you focus on guns every day, what do you think will end up happening at some point in your life? Every day you're reading magazines about guns, you're thinking about guns, you like guns. What do you think will eventually happen? You own a gun store. Absolutely. I love that, right? Because again, whatever it is you put your energy and your focus in, it expands, it grows. It takes on a life of its own. The things I expect and desire for my life will only happen if my daily behavior support those expectations and desires. If I focus on my life goals that will take shape and grow, where do we put our efforts in life is the question, right? So now if I put all of my effort into building a curriculum to where I can teach young people how to be more self-aware, more self-confident, have a greater sense of self-worth, I'm gonna make the dopest curriculum ever for that. Ever. Because I'm focusing all my energy into it, right? You guys have seen this already happen in your life. You focused and put energy into things that could have caused you to end up here. So you know the power of it. You fully understand the power of it. The question becomes, where are you going to put your efforts in life now? Today is a new day. This day, moving forward, where's my energy go? Like Lee said, do I start focusing and reading things that help me grow as a person? Because now, if I start to focus on that, I'm going to grow as a person. But if I start focusing on things that are counterproductive, or if I just talk about it and I'm not being about it, then it won't happen. So what are my behaviors? So if I say I want to start a gun store, what's the first thing I need to do? Know about guns. Exactly. That's the first step. You don't get the gun store if you don't understand anything about guns, right? Can't happen. It's an impossibility. So I start there. I read up. I understand the difference between a Glock and a Taurus, right? Because I need to know that. I need to know the difference between the Glock and the Taurus. Well, the Glock don't come with safeties. I need to know that so I can tell my customers that and understand it. The Taurus, they got safeties. So these are the things that I need to start getting an understanding of. That's part of your focus. That's part of your behavior showing up in what your mouth is talking about, right? Because it's really about your behaviors. That's where the focus lies. If you sit there and you say, yo, mama, I'm gonna do right, I'm gonna get everything together, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna be here no more. When I get back home, I'm gonna leave them streets alone, da 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 da. But then as soon as your mama leave, you go back, now you with your friends, and now you're doing all those same things. Oh, look at him, man, he a punk. Or, you know, you're breaking the rules with, you know, the staff here, not doing what you're supposed to do. That means you ain't living what you told your mama. So it won't expand. You won't get better because as soon as she walked away, you start doing the same nonsense. Now you beef on one of the staff here because you ain't follow the rules. But you just sat there and told mama, and my mama do right. Then your behavior should reflect that. You should do right. It's simple. Don't talk about it and not be about it. Because see, that's how I know and how he knows. You full of it. We see right through it. You tell me, yo, I want to start my own business. Cool, what you want to do? You know, I want to have my own window tinting business. All right, cool, that's dope, that's dope. What you know about window tinting? I don't know much. All right, cool, that's okay, that's right now. All right, check this out. Next time I come back, tell me something more about window tinting. Next time I come back, what's up with the window tinting? You know, well, you know what I'm saying? Nope, you fake, bye. I don't have time for that. Because if you're not real, I can't see you as real. But your behaviors tell me you're real. What you're focusing on expands. It grows, it develops, it becomes something because you put your energy into it. But you put your energy into it because it's real to you. It's in here. It's in your heart. If your behaviors aren't matching your words, you're fake. I'm telling you that right now. If you don't like it, I don't care. Don't matter to me because it's facts. So you get mad about it, but it ain't gonna change the fact of it. If you say something, but your behaviors don't support that, you're not real. So there you go. If you were wondering what the definition of real was, you know, keep it real. Oh, yo, I'm real. I'm the realest MC out here. Word? What makes you the realest MC? When the last time you battled somebody? Who writes your rhymes? Right? Because that's the behavior that tells me you are the realest. Because you understand what MCing is about. You understand the culture. Being an MC isn't, yo, we went to the studio, cuz. Me and Lee was just talking about this other day, some young cats. Like, yo, we want to get in the studio. Oh, word? Well, go perform. Get up on stage and rap your song, and then I'll know you're real because your behaviors will show me that. Because getting in the studio just sounds mad cool, right? If your man came to you and was like, yo, son, I was in the studio last night. You go, oh, there you made it, right? You all excited about that. So what, you went to the studio? What if he can't get up on stage? What if I come along and I say, oh, word, you rhyme? Let's battle. And now he's shook. And want no parts of that. It's because it's not real to him. He sees the flashy side of it, all the stuff that looks good. Oh, all the rappers, they got chains, they got cars, they got clothes, they got women. That's what I'm all excited about. So I'm gonna just chase that stuff. I ain't trying to sit down and write for hours and get all my ideas on paper in the word. Nah, I ain't trying to do that. That's work, right? Every time we put something in front of somebody, say, well, you got to do this work. Oh, well, maybe I ain't about that. Because they're not willing to focus on it. That's the focus. The focus is the work. The focus is creating the ideas. It's the behavior you show. It's not about what your mouth is saying. I've been listening to people these days. Because I just want to see, if you say it, I should see it. It should show up. If I go around saying, oh yeah, you know, I mentor all the time at Stonewall, but y'all don't never see me, I'm fake. Facts, right? If you see me on the street and I'm like, yeah, I'm at Stonewall all the time, and you ain't never seen me, you ain't never heard of me, you like, where's that? Because when I focus on something, it's demonstrated in my behavior, in my action, the action of it. Talk about action a lot, right? It's the action, it's the behavior. What am I focused on? What is my energy going towards? Is my energy just going towards talk or something real? And see, when we're focused, right, it just begins to grow, right? Think about anything that you ever focused on. Maybe it was a relationship. Maybe it was, look, maybe it was that girl, right? We all had that girl, and we like, man, she bad. Now, if you focused on getting her attention, you probably eventually got it. And if you kept it going because your ultimate goal was, hey, I would love for her to be my lady. And you put that energy into it, right? So maybe you do a nice thing for her. Maybe you do a couple nice things. Depending on the girl, you may have to do like 20 nice things. But you're focused on it. And then eventually one day, you see yourself hanging out with the girl of your dreams because you put your focus and your energy on it. The first time you spoke to her, she may have been like, yo, get out of here. I don't have time for that. I ain't trying to talk to you. But you focused on it. So it eventually expanded and you got what you wanted. Well, it's the same thing with the first question I asked you. If you focus on becoming a millionaire and you find what that path is to get there and you stay the course, we talked about the course in the beginning. If you stay the course and you keep that focus, it'll eventually happen for you. Trust me. There are people in situations 50 times worse than you that have become millionaires. Because they focus on it. So again, if you focus on it, it'll grow. But if now, you know what I'm saying, I come along and say, nah, you can't do that. And now you take your focus off it. It won't grow. Nah, that's hard, bro. I don't know, man. That's real hard. And then you start to let that fear come in, it won't grow. You got to stay the course. What you focus on will expand, I promise you. You've already seen it in your life. You just got to be willing to go back and analyze what it is that expanded. But you're not focused, especially if it's a negative thing, right? Just let it motivate you to say, well, if I focus positively, positive things will grow. So what I focus on will expand.
All right. Bringing it home. For last principle, we'll go to the slide real quick. Principle number 6 is have a checkmate in my life. How many of you guys got friends, like lifelong friends in here? You develop relationships here. How many of you guys have? All right, so you know whenever there's a time, microphone, when let me read the definition and get back. The things one more. All right. Have a checkmate in my life. Have a friend, a family member, or mentor in my life that holds me accountable and helps me be the best version of myself. Someone who accepts me for who I am. Someone who is not afraid to tell me what I don't want to hear. So who is your voice of reason? Who is the person you can depend on to always give you the truth? All right. So have a checkmate. I have a checkmate. I have several checkmates in my life. You know, one standing right here. And has anybody ever heard of what yes men are? Everybody heard of yes man? What's yes man?
Always been like, he always agree with you. Even when you don't even feel you just stand up for you.
Yeah, exactly. That was absolutely perfect. You were like, and then a lot of times you being the person talking, you don't even know why this dude agreeing with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know why this dude, like, why he just, even he's saying yes about something that doesn't even have anything related to what you're talking about. But he just want to be, oh yeah. Those are the kind of people you probably don't want to be around like that or having your entourage, because that's gonna make your entourage weaker. People who can't think for themselves, have weak minds, will ultimately make them a weaker person. Right? So if I'm always running around and you're supposed to be my man, my dude, you know what I'm saying? We're supposed to be building some stuff. If every time I'm going to do something, Mark's like, yo, yeah, we need to do that, yeah, blah, blah, and never looking at any other type of like maybe fault or something that might not work, or say, how about you think about this? How about you think about that? If we're running a business, are we really going to ever be successful if there's no objective thinking there? If everybody on the team is Michael Jordan, are you going to win a championship? Right. You can't win a championship. The chemistry not right. You're seeing a lot of mega teams with a lot of good players on them, but everybody don't play their role. It's gonna crumble. Like too many people trying to be Michael Jordan, or too many people trying to be LeBron James. Not enough Kyrie, not enough Kevin Loves. Like, those people are the ones that are going to be your checkmates to help you out, because they're going to bring another element to you. I'll bring another element to Mark. He brings another element to me. Because why? We all stay in our lanes. We accepted our truth. And now, if I got a checkmate that I need to talk to about, I can fully go to this person and put this out here and expect him or her to give it to me real, to give me the feedback that I need, so now I can navigate. Sometimes when you get inside of something, you don't know where you are until you get out of it, and maybe you need somebody that's watching you to help guide you through your own issue where you can get so you can get out. That's what checkmates are. People that are going to not tell you you're doing this the right way all the time and say, yo, look at it this way. This might be able to help you. You can trust somebody like that, because that's what it's all about. Finding relationships that people you can trust, that's going to help you navigate and guide you. People like your mom, people like your dads or uncles, stuff like that, that have not one reason for you to do bad. Like, I'm a father. There is not one reason that I can think of ever that's going to see my son, have my son or daughter do something good that I'm not going to be proud of. Not one. Not one thing. So when they come to me with any problem, I'm going to look at it and see the best way where it can work out for them, even if I don't like it, because it's not about me. It's about her going on and changing the world in her own way, being her light, the stuff I put into her and the stuff we're putting into you guys, It's not about that. We understand that there's going to be a lot of things going on in your life, a lot of people come into your life. We're just trying to show you how to find the right ones to keep around you. The right ones are always going to be like that father or brother or mother that's always going to want what's best for you. They will never put you in harm's way. So when you think that yo, man, do this for me, man, go check this, run up on this lip, we got to turn on the lip real quick, let's go ride this dude real quick, man, and get this little money. And you start thinking about, well, yeah, he said he really cared about me, or he said he really down for me and he gonna ride for me and everything like that. But he's asking me to go violate somebody else's space. So how can he really care about me? Would my mother want me to do something like that? That's what can make you start to differentiate who you around. When my uncle says something, want me to do like that, or any mentor in my life want me to do something like that, then you know you don't have the right checkmates around you. Like, how can you? So understanding that when you have a checkmate and the people that you have around you, that's going to formulate who you are. They say you would like the most five people you've been close to and everything. So, you all right, bro? Okay, I know you want to share something. Okay, all right, cool. All right, so they say you like the most five people you're around. So everybody look at the people that you're around most in here and figure out, is that good for you? I want everybody to do a self-check evaluation list right now. Who the crew are hanging around with, what they're about, what they think about, what's my conversation about? Do we talk about building anything, doing anything better for ourselves? Or do we talk about the stuff that just goes on in here all the time that we don't like? We can keep that conversation will go forever here. You're gonna be gone, that same conversation gonna be here. That conversation was 20 years before you was here. It's the same conversation that people have. You gotta decide if you want to have different conversation. Because that same conversation is the same conversation with the same people that's gonna get you right back in here and in the bigger house. So you gotta understand who you're around. What they trying to have you do. Is this good for you? Is this gonna put you in your handcuffs? Is this gonna hurt somebody else, ruin their life? You gotta start thinking about those things because everything that you do is gonna be reflective of who you have around you. Those people gonna put that energy to you. I hang around Mark and a couple other people, you know. That energy says we doing something. We're trying to change the world. We're here in Charlotte trying to build some things. Everybody that's related to that is trying to do the same thing. That's the energy we in right now. Everybody's in it. The energy in here, everybody has done something. So they put everybody in here that's done something. So that's what you think y'all gonna talk about, what y'all did. How do you break that cycle? Who's strong enough to break that cycle? Who's strong enough to be in the crowd if they talking about some garbage that you just leave the crowd and say, I don't want to do that no more? Because at some point, you got to make a decision for yourself. At some point, you got to make a decision for yourself. At some point, you got to say, this reputation don't mean nothing because it's not getting me anywhere. My rep is what's holding me back, or what I think it is. I am, because I'm in here. I ain't even free. So something got to change. Or I'm going to be here the rest of my life. And raise your hand if you think that's fun. So there's got to be a change. You can think what you want to and try to have your own thoughts of things, but your thoughts have been wrong. It is clear. You're not free for whatever circumstance it is. Whether it's got to do with somebody else, listen to somebody else, you're not listening to somebody saying something that they seen before you. Whatever it is, you got to accept now. That's where it is. This is where you are. Can't nobody help you. The only person that is going to help you is you. And you can only help yourself by surrounding yourself with the right type of people, like I explained before. The people who are going to try to mentor you in the right way until you do things that's not going to land you back here again. Anybody else needs to be X'd out of your life. I'm telling you this because we sat in rooms and talked to people before and they ended up right back here again because they have not X'd people out their life. You got to find a checkmate, and the checkmate is somebody who's like, yo, I'm not hanging out with you if you're gonna be doing this stuff. And then you got to say, hey, yo, you know, look, if you ain't got no checkmates, maybe you the person that people don't want to hang out with. Maybe you that person. Maybe you are the bad influence. That's where you got to go back and look. It always ends with yourself. You can have checkmates, but in this whole thing, it always starts with you. Accepting up who you are and what you have done. It can't go anywhere else. If you don't, you'll always be here. You'll always be in some place like it. One thing is for sure. We are born alone and we will die alone. That is a guarantee. So you might as well get to know yourself now and enjoy that journey.
All right. So, 6 principles that we've shared with you. Accept my truth, stay in my lane, accept people for where they are in their journey. I become what I think about, what I focus on will expand and have a checkmate in my life. Look, the bottom line is this. You all were here today. You experienced this. The challenge now is, what do you do next? Now you're in the knowing. See, this information and what we've shared with you puts you in the knowing. So once you're in the knowing, you don't really have an excuse. Anything you do from this day forward is choice. So wherever you end up, you made that choice. Earl Nightingale said the opposite of courage is conformity, right? Conforming back to what other people are doing, old ways, old habits. You have a choice right now. We certainly appreciate you guys for listening. We appreciate you guys for being attentive. Now, help us appreciate on another level by seeing success in you. Seeing a win. What could be your win? Lee said, do self-evaluation. What could be your win? What are your principles? How are you going to live your life from this day forward? Today is a new day, fellas. It's a new day. What happened yesterday don't matter no more. It's over. What you going to do today forward? Anybody got any questions, comments? Anything you guys want to share? Lee, any final thoughts?
Well, I mean, guys, the only thing I can say is to make sure that you focus on everything that has to do with you. There you're going to be okay. As soon as you start looking outside of what you're doing, that's when complication gets in. That's when your anger gets in. That's when your anxiety gets in. Anytime you've ever been upset, it has been because of something outside of you. Start recognizing that and start asking yourself when you get upset. Ask yourself, why am I upset? Why am I allowing this to happen? And then that can pull you right back. Anytime you start feeling that anxiety and start to come up in you, ask yourself, like, look, I'm allowing somebody to have control of me. That's why you have anxiety. That's why you have frustrations, you know. It's because we allow people to control our thoughts. We allow people to control who we are. So that's what's happening. So when you're getting mad, it's really just an exposure of how weak you are mentally. That's what anger does. Anger is the weakest emotion. So yes, you can be as big as bad, but really you just walk around being the weakest person. Understand that. Make sure that you know that, because every time anger comes, that is going to be a decision time for you. Every single time it comes. That's a major point in your life. So pause and recognize what that is. And if you can do that, you'll start elevating, and then things will start coming, and you realize I don't even think this way no more. All right? Y'all have a good one, man.
Thanks. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So we got 2 questions. What are they?
Have you ever been locked up?
I have never been locked up, ever. I've just been in these places like this. My brother, he's been locked up several times. I mean, I've go through a whole lifetime of, not lifetime, but family members and stuff like that being in, but I've never been locked up, no.
So for me, I've never been locked up for an extended period of time. I have been arrested 3 times in my life. But again, for me, it was a growing experience. That was supposed to happen because I wasn't making good decisions. What was the next question?
They want to see you dance.
They want to see us dance.
Yeah.
Dance.
All right, go to our YouTube channel. We got mad videos on there. We dancing, we doing all kinds of stuff. So check out I Am Positive 1 on YouTube, and trust me, we got countless videos.
I realize that you guys do several things, but what motivated you to have this speaking thing as part of your repertoire?
Well, I mean,
Okay.
that was the first thing that we really did. You know, this was like the absolute first thing that the principles of Powers One was the foundation of how we could start our actual life and journey and make this journey. So that was the motivation, and then most of the motivation was for me was when I live in Highland Creek on the golf course, and I just moved there. And coming from where I come from, one thing I never imagined that I could be looking at my backyard and seeing a golf course and a pond right there. That was like absolutely, basically growing up on a dirt road in a country town, you know. But that right there motivated me because I didn't see anybody around me that looked like me. So that was not a very comforting feeling because I'm now out of my comfort zone in the suburbs per se. And now you're like, well, why is it that I'm here and ain't nobody else here? And I know people that are just as smart as all my neighbors. I know people that are just as smart as anybody around here. For some reason, the way to get here has been blocked for certain people, you know? So the way we want to come out is to be able to show you guys, because I already navigated that. I've already been, in this case, a black male who came up, went to college, I played football, got a football scholarship, and started working and did it what they would call it the American dream way. So I want to be an example to show it don't look like how other people say it's supposed to look like, you know? It don't look like you got to be all this certain type of way. It looks any kind of way and you can still do it. You can still go out and work in the workforce and make over $100,000 a year if you want to, if you put your mind to it. We both did it and we left it. And now we're trying to teach you guys how to do it, if that's the way you want to go. But the most inspiring thing was just to try to teach people how to think for themselves. That was the biggest thing for me, is we do so many things in life, we don't even know why we do it. You know, we get up and go to work in the morning. We don't know why we do it. We pay bills. We don't know why we do it. So we just living in this world to survive, you know. And once you understand that, you know, in actuality, that, you know, we're born and it costs for us to live. And is that really free? So all of those things and combined, like, really just brought me to like, yo, we need to speak this truth to these people. And anybody I could find that will listen to hear like what we're saying is like, understand what we really are. And if you're really thinking for yourself, then you'll start to ask yourself those questions. And once you start asking questions, that's when all thinking can come.
For me, my motivation came from a series of factual, painful events throughout my life. So just to sort of make it brief. So there's 4 cousins on my mother's side of the family, 4 of us. We're all within 2 years of each other. I'm the only one who hasn't spent the majority of his life incarcerated. Okay, so that was part of my motivation, especially to be in this place right now. But then another thing came is, you know, I worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car for 17 years of my life, worked my way up the company. You know, I managed at one point up to 40 people. But one of the things that I constantly saw was there weren't enough people like me constantly winning, right? Constantly winning. So I would see a lot of young people who look like me, black and brown, who would automatically get discounted. Because you're black, you're lazy. Because you're a black female, you're angry. So, and when I say they got discounted, I'm talking about my bosses, the higher ups. So I was really motivated to build people up, because see, when we fall in that trap, it's because we don't know who we are. Because think about it, I was there, but I was able to move up, right? But I was a little bit more grounded than I saw a lot of people who were hired, and they struggled. And a lot of it was because they were detached from self, and they were lost. They were trying to maybe even live someone else's life. So that was sort of hurting their progress to be successful, because they didn't understand simple things like time and place. Okay, so when you go to work for Enterprise Rent-A-Car, you understand you work there, time and place. You got to show up with a suit. You got to be neat. You can't show up with your shirt hanging out, right? But that doesn't also mean that you don't have good abilities. It just means you got to understand certain things. So I'm motivated by that, I want to teach, I want all this knowledge that I got, that truth be told, corporate America gave me, I want to give it to you. So you know how to navigate the street. So that's my motivation. I'm motivated to share, I'm motivated to give you guys what I have so that you don't have the challenges that I had and you don't have the challenges that I saw a lot of people go through. And even though when you're in this place, again, that doesn't mean anything because you can still come out and win. So that's part of my motivation. Yes.
What does your Positive One organization have to offer?
It's like, for example, to you.
Yeah.
So, exactly what we're doing right now. Look, part of what we do is young people like yourself, we build a relationship with you. We're going to continue to mentor you, to shine a light on your path in life. We teach about entrepreneurship. We have our P1 education, which really, those principles that you saw, we just sort of gave you an example of. P1 education really dials into that. And it really breaks it down. We also have our Lessons of Self-Discovery course, which really focuses in on that self-awareness, self-confidence, and self-worth. So those are the things that we have to offer, and there's so much more.
We also have outlets because creativity and I believe self-expression is life. So we have music. We do music, kind of a record company, I guess, kind of evolving into. Yeah. So we deal with different artists, right now in the city of Charlotte, making music. We also have a basketball team, which is the P1 Kings, and we have a recreation team. I think we're starting up fall season now for youth. We do videos. I do like directing videos. We just did a recent video called Rear View in Uptown in Charlotte, and it was a gentleman. He came here and spoke a couple months ago, James Shepard. He was convicted of murder, and he didn't do it. Obviously, he got a life sentence in prison, and he got out. He spent 4.5 years of a life sentence, and finally he was exonerated of all his charges because he didn't do the thing. But he's telling the story there. So what we do is try to put out imagery, put out media, put out things that show you guys what's really going on there. Like, prison is not really all this is cracked up to be. And when you come from there, these people that are coming from there are really messed up in the mind because of what they had to endure and deal with in prison. So there is no like badge because you've been there, There's none of that stuff. So we want to give you the real people who were really there, who were really talking about it. And it was not a glorifying experience. He didn't come out with stripes on his chest because he went in prison for 4.5 years for something he didn't do. He came out, had to rebuild himself. A lot of things have changed now in 4.5 years. Computer stuff is going. He got to revamp his stuff, learn another skill now. He got to learn how to wake up and not be under control and not be nervous if somebody will walk in his room, he think. Because there's no bars there, somebody can just walk in. So those things, you start to understand, this is why we're putting these things out there. We're putting different things of motivation that you can do. We have a t-shirt company. We do those things, entrepreneurs, as he spoke to. Everything that is in the action of helping you develop yourself. Because it's just all these, if you plant all these little seeds around you guys or anybody that is growing up and young people, and eventually they're going to start to recognize things that have been around in their past, in their whole life, and start to go that direction. So even though you don't know that we're planting seeds around you, they're there. And when you get our age, you say, oh yeah, I remember, that was dope. Because I had those same people in my life that I look, oh yeah, he said that, they said that, they said that. And that's what got me right here. So it was a collection of things. And that's what we always say, it's not about us. It's really about us putting these little nuggets out there for you guys to see when you are mature enough or have evolved enough at that point in your journey where you will recognize what it is. Because today, I could be walking outside and that look like a rock on the ground. But if I have knowledge of something, maybe that was actually a diamond. And now I walk past it, and I ain't walking past it no more. I'm gonna pick it up because it was really a diamond. I walked past it before 2 years ago, but I didn't know. But that's what we're trying to do. So that's cool. You don't know that's a diamond I just dropped for you. You pick it up whenever you want to.
What are your views on two things. One, race relations in America, and two, the disproportionate rate at which young black men are killed or incarcerated.
Well, that's an easy one for me because I just really get to the straight point. Racism has never been a black problem. It has always been a white issue. Like, would it be possible for us for people of color to actually have an issue? It would only be a reaction to something that has been done to us. So that's where racism starts. Racism needs to start in the white community. They need to police that, because I don't know any black person who really has any problem with white people at all. They just won't be left alone. Really, that's all. So, or any color, So it's a mental sickness more than it is anything else. And we're so far off away from that. I mean, Malcolm X said one time, when they asked him in the 60s, do you think race relations got better and everything? He laughed. He's like, look, if you stab me in the back and the knife goes down 9 inches and you pull it out 6 inches, the knife's still in my back. If you take the knife out, the wound is still there. Nothing has healed. But we're in a country where they won't even recognize that the knife is in our back. So that's my deal with race thing. So it's like, it's always been, it's embedded, and it was founded. I mean, when they made the Declaration of Independence, they did not make it for people of color. That's just a fact. We were 3/5 of a person and looked at like that. So now, just imagine now in these days when you have a family and you have a dog. The black person was the dog. Overall, imagine concept. They changed that idea of it because time has changed, and then they changed history. So understand that in reality, me standing right here 150 years ago, I'm a dog to you. That is what I am. That is the thought pattern. That is the mental capacity of the entire country. That is a reality that they want to fool you about. That's the race relations deal. I mean, like, it's really simple to me. It is a mental sickness in this country. It has not been about black people, and you guys are a part of that cycle. You guys are a part of that stereotype. The reason why there's only 12% black people in the country, but we populate 40% of the prisons. And black people and white people do crime and drugs at the same rate. So you look at that. I don't have to really say anything. I don't have to make any speculations about that. You just look at the statistics and it tells all the truth. So that brings me back to him saying that since we all know this, why would we just fall right into that system? It's created for us to do that. That's how I think about it.
Just to add to it, one thing that all of you, especially you young guys, have to understand is you are currently in a culture that's not natural to you historically, right? So just put it in perspective, right? Slaves were brought here, right? So you were taken out of, historically, your people, your lineage was taken out of your culture. So you're in a culture that's not natural to you. Now, how does that affect you, right? It affects you in this way. Since we all know we're in this culture that's not natural to us, we have to do our best to get our best level of understanding and find our lane in it. Because you all got a lane in it because you're naturally gifted. You naturally have genius, right? So what happens with race relationships, like Lee said, it's really not necessarily a black problem, but it's still a problem nonetheless, right? Race relationships are the same as they've always been. It's just certain things have changed because of technology, laws, whatever you want to call it. But there's still racism. There's still people that look at you and say, you black, you're a criminal, you're nothing. There's people who look at you and say that, right? So what you guys got to remember is you cannot play into that. So I get it. Every time you turn on the TV, if somebody looks like you in handcuffs, walking, getting into the paddy wagon. Totally understand that. But that doesn't mean that has to be you. Being black doesn't mean I'm gangster. Being black doesn't mean I hustle and sell drugs. Being black doesn't mean I'm thuggish. You guys got to remember these things. And the same thing if you're a minority, Latino, whatever. So you guys got to unlearn this. And how you unlearn it is educate yourself, strengthen your mind. No different than if you're looking at a situation and you saying, man, I'm about to go into this situation. I'm maybe about to play football. I need to get my weight up. Get your mind up. Because that's how you fight the so, you know, quote unquote racism, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're educated and you're smart, no one can deny that or take that away from you. You will instantly have value. So you got to increase your value in order to deal with the fact that you will be the subject of racism for the rest of your life. Fact. If you're black, Latino, you'll be the subject of racism for the rest of your life. They're going to make it seem like it's your issue because that's the culture that they're forcing upon us. And it's just facts. But we're here in America, right? So we figure out our lane, we figure out how to navigate, and we do our thing. But it starts with this. Strengthen your mind. That's how you overcome the racist culture that we live in. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
All right, we got any other questions?
Yeah, it would want to say, are you Christian?
Am I Christian? I don't consider myself Christian. I believe in God, but I don't consider myself religious. So since I don't consider myself religious, it's tough for me to, I don't ever go around saying I'm Christian because I'm not religious, but I do believe in God and a higher power. So that's my answer to that.
The quick answer to that is no, I'm not a Christian. But I'm also a religious studies major, so I studied like 10 religions during college. So I took out and just researched. I had a thesis paper on the life of Jesus Christ, you know, so like I know everything there is to know really about biblical terms, but that is the reason why I'm not a Christian. I am more of a lover, you know. I just say I'm a person who loves people, and that is the basis of every religion I've ever read or studied. The basis of it is accepting people for where they are and loving people as they are and accepting people for who they are. So that's what my so-called religion would be. But I guess I would not be a religious person. I'm just a thinker.
Who is the most successful former inmate or incarcerated person you could tell these guys about?
Either James, because we're working with him right now. You know, we're working on an album right now called Autopilot, and also my brother. He just finished a book called Autopilot, and we're doing a soundtrack for that. My brother, obviously grew up in the projects. My dad obviously wasn't there at that point around him, you know, he had a whole different type of lifestyle. When I grew up, you know, selling drugs, you know, robbing people, anything it was, you know, I knew that. But his success story, he now has a book doing the same thing that we're doing. He just released it last 3 months ago and everything. And now, like I said, everything that I'm doing is kind of like marrying with what he's doing because he has a record label. We are doing our thing here now. We're just kind of, he's in Raleigh, so we're making like we're bonding the city together. And obviously Change, you know, he was in prison for murder. So he's actually in the now of his success story. So he'll be telling this story because he's actually living it right now, which is really cool. Yeah.
How did you say? Where did you guys go up, and what made you want to come to North Carolina?
I grew up in North Carolina. So I grew up in a small town called Carthage, about an hour and a half from here. And when I got out of school, I went to University of Richmond, and my uncle lived in Charlotte. So I just came back here and set up shop and started dominating.
For me, I'm originally from New Jersey. I moved here in 2006. What brought me here is my mother and sister were already living here. They moved here in 1996. And to be honest with you, it was a lot cheaper to live here than it was in New Jersey. So that was a big part of my motivation. I mean, I had a condo in New Jersey and bought a house here that was like 30 grand cheaper than my condo. So for me, I guess, yeah, it's a win. So that was really part of my motivation to come here to North Carolina. And I love it. It's home.
Who is one of your role models?
My biggest role model in life is my mother. For a lot of reasons. I mean, I remember being a kid, every time I was walking out the door going to school, my mother would always ask me, you got your GA or your BA? Your good attitude or your bad attitude? Because she understood the importance of attitude. And she's just been one of the most consistent, supportive people ever. I mean, I remember being in college, my mother would call me about every day just to check up on me, making sure that, you know, I'm staying focused, and really more than anything, just to give me an encouraging word. So for me, my mother is definitely my biggest role model.
There's like a lot of people, so, I mean, obviously my mom, and I think everybody would say, you know, the source of where they come from would have to be some type of role model. But I would say my mom would be the biggest influence, just because of like who she was, being an activist her entire life and watching her. So that definitely influenced what I did and what I'm doing right now. So that would have to be that. But I would say life is my biggest role model, the experience of life. Experiencing things, you can't compare anything to that. And when you are open to learning things, that is like your biggest gift. When life comes at you, you'll see things that in a different way than other people will see it, because you see the opportunity and everything, and you see the gifts that everybody has to give you. So when you're up and you're taking in gifts every time you talk to somebody, that right there can be very powerful and very influential in what you do.
What advice you have for young? What advice do you have for young entrepreneurs?
The biggest thing is like I said, it's really simple. I go back to this self-belief, believing in what you are trying to do, and always go deeper in that. So people, there are going to come times where things aren't looking like you thought they would look like, but that's only just testing you to make sure that you're really in this and just keep pushing through. That's the biggest thing about entrepreneurs. For me, it's just the will to actually be successful and do what you want to do, and to like embody that. If you can't embody it, if you don't feel it, if it's not everything that you breathe, then you're going to have a hard time being an entrepreneur. You're going to have a hard time stomaching it. But trust that there is massive reward on the back end of trying to figure that out and being an entrepreneur.
The biggest thing that I would say is you got to look at your failures and your mistakes as wins. And here's why I say they're wins, because you got to learn from them. I'm going to tell you right now, if anybody's an aspiring entrepreneur, you're going to make mistakes, and failure is going to show up in some way, shape, or form, right? There's going to be challenges, but you have to be willing to look at those things and say, I can learn from this, and now I grow. Your mistakes and failures is what levels you up. Ask anyone who's ever owned a business. They will basically tell you that. And you realize that when you go through it. So if I'm giving advice, accept those things. Don't let the mistakes, the failure, and I'm not a big fan of that word, but I know people understand it better. Don't allow that to stop your progress. Because if you do, then anytime you get challenged, you're going to quit. Good question.
What part of New Jersey are you from?
I grew up in Plainfield, New Jersey.
No.
By know Plainfield?
Yeah, by guys. I live a little bit.
Oh, okay.
All
right, so we actually got to wrap it up because we got another meeting that we got to get to. But if there are more questions, we are here every week. So we'll be back next week. We'll be here on Wednesday in Miss Sarita's class from like 12:30 to like 2. So if you guys got more questions, you want more information, get it to her, she'll get it to us, and we can stay connected that way. A lot of our brochures and our information is in her classroom. Again, if you guys get access, if you guys get time, look up I Am Positive One, our YouTube page. You can see all the videos, all the stuff we do. I think you guys will really like it. There's some really, really good music on there. And we just try to have fun. So that's what we're about. But again, thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Thanks for your time. And again, just keep moving forward. Just move forward. Thank you.